Welcome to my channel. My name is Jennifer, and in this tutorial I will show you how to put together the very last owl on my wreath, as well as the last stick that it goes with it. So if you want to learn how to do that, please keep watching. I'll be starting with the blue body and putting the little polka dots onto it, and I will show you how to do that. I want to show you what side the sequins go on, and these sequins are kind of shaped like a saucer or a small plate, and the flat side goes down on the bottom so that the bead sits right in the middle. And that's how you do it. These beads are not flat, they're kind of curved a little bit, and for these little dots I decided to just do a one through since there's a lot of material instead of going through twice. Skipping ahead, I wanted to show you what the dots look like finished, and the back I kind of ran out of thread right there. So that's the front, and now we're going to look on the face. And I went ahead and beaded the face of the owl, and we're going to attach the eyes first. In the instructions it says to attach the face first, but I find it easier to do it this way. So we're going to start with the orange felt, the eyes, and the eyes require a satin stitch, and I will link my video on the satin stitch to this video down below as well in the description, so you can watch that. So here's the eyes completely finished with the satin stitch, and we're going to work on the white pieces of felt, and we're going to put the beads and sequins on those and then attach the irises to the white. I went ahead and grabbed a couple of pins to position the eyes where I want them to, and then you use the applique stitch to attach these two pieces together. And that's the back. You shouldn't see any stitches, although it really doesn't matter since we're stuffing this owl. So go ahead and put the face on the body and applique those two pieces together. And this is what I decided to grab a couple of pins and show you before I stitch it on, so that you guys have a good idea of how to place your pins. And I went ahead and added the two pieces together. There's my applique. You can see my stitches. The blue felt is a little bit thinner than I'm used to, so you do see stitches, but it doesn't really matter since we're going to be stuffing the owl anyway. So we're going to work on the beak, and the beak consists of two pieces of orange felt that will be stuffed with a little bit of polyfiber fill. And here's kind of how I do it. It's a little bit unorthodox, but I wanted it to not be too flat because, you know, beaks tend to be kind of fuller. But this is how my process for stuffing my beaks. And I go slow and I stuff them as I go. So for placement, you just need a couple of stitches, and I decided to just knot it and then continue and not cut off the thread and re-knot it. It was a lot easier to do it that way. So just add a couple of stitches on top and add a couple of stitches on the bottom. And that's all you need to do for the beak. I did originally want to put 3 stitches in the beak, but I noticed that the beak was a little bit on the crooked side, so I added a couple of stitches on the side to keep it in place. And if it touches the little dot on the body, it's fine. So as long as the stitches keep the beak where I want it to go, then it'll look fine. So. And then we're going to be working on the wings next. Now these wings are a little bit confusing, but I'll show you kind of how I figured out how I wanted to do it, because the picture shows one thing and the results are a little bit different. So the picture kind of gives you an idea of which direction the stitches go. So the stitches that go upwards go first, and we're going to use 3 strands of red-brown. And I will show you how to thread those 3 strands together. And we're going to be using a straight stitch. So I will show you how to put 3 strands together. And shout out to one of my followers named Sharon for asking how to combine 3 threads. And this can apply to any colors or more than one type of color. It could be 3 different colors or 2 colors and then 1 color. The same rule applies. So this is how you put 3 strands together. And it's rather simple. It's just a little bit different than what you normally do. Instead of knotting both ends, you only knot one end. That way you still keep your 3 strands, but the other end is loose, and that gives you more thread to work with. That's the only difference. Normally when you knot both ends together, the thread is shorter, but in this case the thread is a lot longer. So this is how I decided to do the wing. When I did it on the first wing, I kind of did it differently, and I did not like how it turned out, because the lines were so far apart and they were moving around and you could see all of the, you know, the stamps. So I was like, you know what, there's got to be a more creative way to do the wing and still keep the line straight. So I decided to grab a corner of the square and attach it to the other side. And this gives it a nice waffle cone look, I guess. I liked how it turned out. You don't have to do it this way. This is just something that I decided to do to make it look and stay that pattern. So that's those are the two wings put on. I decided to just go ahead and put the backings on and stuff them. I didn't stuff them too much because I wanted this owl to be a little bit smaller than the other two. And the position, it doesn't really give you a stamp on the felt, so you kind of have to eyeball it a little bit. So use the picture given and you'll be able to find the best position for that wing. And I put the feet on there, and there's the finished owl. It's so cute. And now we're going to work on the twig that it sits on. So the little stick, here's both sides of it. I'm going to go ahead and embroider the stick, and that is the embroidery. It is the outline stitch. There's a little bit of close-up there. And I decided to grab a piece of the, what is it called? pipe cleaner, crafting pipe cleaner, and some stuffing too. So we're going to be putting pipe cleaner in. I appliqued the very bottom of it so that the pipe cleaner can have a place to kind of sit inside the twig, and I will be appliquing both those pieces together and then stuffing as I go. So this part's a little bit tricky because the twig gets a little bit thin, so you kind of have to maneuver it a little bit. But I found that this is a much better solution than just doing stuffing. That way you can reshape the twig in any shape that you want, rather than, you know, just having it stuffed and then you're kind of stuck with the position that the stuffing puts it in. So this is a really great alternative to stuffing. And plus you don't have to, it doesn't use that much stuffing. So I didn't start stuffing until I got to the point where the other side of the twig didn't have it, like right here. I got to that point where I'm like, you know what, I'll just add stuffing right there and kind of stuff and then keep going. So I didn't start stuffing right away. I only put stuffing in there if I felt like it needed it. And I grabbed my trusty little chopstick and we're going to finish the stick. So I decided to show you how the stick, how I ended the stick. I did stuff a little bit towards the end because the pipe cleaner doesn't fill up the entire space, but it does fill out quite a bit. So I'm going to applique this twig closed and we'll be done with the twig. After this twig is done, then I will add the twig onto the feet of the owl, and that's always a little bit tricky because, again, there's no stamp, so you kind of have to go by eye and refer to the picture. I always refer to the picture. So there is a finished little twig. And there is both my owl and my twig, and I'm going to position it right around here. That's kind of where the picture is, where the owl is pictured. So here is my completed owl and twig, and there's the back of the feet, and you can see where I put a couple of stitches to keep those together, and you can adjust the stick however you like, and there you go. And that is the third and final owl completely done. And in my next tutorial I will be putting both the stick and the owl onto my wreath, and hopefully start on the acorns because there are a few acorns to put on there before we completely finish the wreath, which I'm really excited about. And I'm still kind of figuring out how I'm going to do that. There's a couple of things I'm going to try and see what I like. So I do have some extra poster board that I'm going to try, and hopefully that'll work because that's easily accessible and almost everybody can get some poster board. So I'm probably going to stick with poster board, but we'll see. Check out my next tutorial, and if you like this video, please hit that like button, the thumbs up button, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!